Hi guys! We are reading a bit of Alice in Wonderland today, marvelous classic story written by Lewis Carroll and with many adaptations for theater and film that we all know about. I am Ms. Carolina and you are watching the Iwa channel. You can also find information about my YouTube channel, English with Us, here in the description of the video. And you can check out my other videos with Iwa, like a reading of Animal Farm, or fun English learning through songs like Naughty from the musical Matilda. This is a reading and listening practice for levels B2 and C1. Read with me till the end of the video because I will test your comprehension level by asking you a couple of questions, and I will share a fantastic tip to help you with reading comprehension activities. Okay, we are just reading a little bit here, so remember that you can continue reading the book in the Iwa app. Yes, you can listen to the audio like an audiobook,
which was lit up by a row of lamps hanging from the roof.
You can see the translation of words that you don't understand while you're reading, and this makes it so much easier. So, without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 1. Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeped into the book her sister was reading. To peep or to peek are synonyms, and it means to look quickly and furtively at something, especially through a narrow opening. But it had no pictures or conversations in it. And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? So she was considering in her own mind, as well as she could, for the hot day made her feel very sleepy and stupid, whether the pleasure, that's an interesting word, whether. It is a conjunction that introduces an alternative. So no, it's not whether like what is the weather like today, rainy or sunny, although they are homophones. So let's continue. Whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking the daisies, when suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her. There was nothing so very remarkable in that, nor did Alice think it so very much out of the way to hear the rabbit say to itself, oh dear, I shall be late." So she didn't think it was out of the way, she didn't think it was strange. All right. Got that. We continue. When she thought it over afterwards, it occurred to her that she ought to have wondered at this. But at the time, it all seemed quite natural. So here we encounter a semi-modal verb, ought to. We use ought to have plus ed form to talk about things that were desired or ideal in the past, but which didn't happen. It can express regret, which is what Alice did. But when the rabbit actually took a watch out of its waistcoat pocket and looked at it and then hurried on, Alice started to her feet. To her feet, that means she stood up. For it flashed across her mind that she had never before seen a rabbit with either a waistcoat pocket or a watch to take out of it. And burning with curiosity, she ran across the field after it and fortunately was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge. A hedge is a line of bushes or small trees growing close together around a garden or field. In another moment, down went Alice after it, never once considering how in the world she was to get out again. The rabbit hole went straight on like a tunnel for some way, and then dipped suddenly down. So it dipped down, it went down a lower level, so suddenly that Alice had not a moment to think about stopping herself before she found herself falling down a very deep well. Not well as the adverb feeling well, I feel well, but well as the noun. A well is a deep hole in the ground from which people drink water or obtain water. Either the well was very deep or she fell down or she fell very slowly. I have to stop here because this is where it starts. You can tell by this sentence with the use of either or that Alice is starting to fall in slow motion. On one hand, the well was very deep, meaning she must have been falling for a long time. On the other hand, she fell very slowly. Quite a paradox, because when we fall, it is quite fast. Yet, it felt timeless for Alice, surreal, magical. After all, the rabbit hole is the entrance to Wonderland. For she had plenty of time as she went down to look about her and to wonder what was going to happen next. First, she tried to look down and make out a phrasal verb in this case, meaning trying to understand, to make out what she was coming to, but it was too dark to see anything. Then she looked at the sides of the well and noticed that they were filled with cupboards and bookshelves. Here and there she saw maps and pictures hung upon pegs. Can you imagine this? Maps and pictures hung upon pegs, like when you hang clothes to dry on a clothesline. She took down a jar from one of the shelves as she passed. It was labeled orange marmalade, but to her great disappointment, it was empty. She did not like to drop the jar for fear of killing somebody, so managed to put it into one of the cupboards as she fell past it. Well, thought Alice to herself, after such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they will all think me at home. Why, I would not say anything about it, even if I fell off the top of the house, which was very likely true. Down, down, down. Would the fall never come to an end? I wonder how many miles I have fallen by this time, she said aloud. I must be getting somewhere near the center of the earth. Let me see. That would be 4,000 miles down, I think. For you see, Alice had learned several things of this sort in her lessons in the schoolroom. And though this was not a very good opportunity for showing off her knowledge, as there was no one to listen to her, still it was good practice to say it over. Yes, that is about right, the right distance. But then I wonder what latitude or longitude I have got to. Alice had no idea what latitude was, or longitude either, but thought they were nice, grand words to say. So, here are some questions for you. As Alice falls down the rabbit hole, number 1, what indicates that Alice is curious? And number 2, does Alice plan to tell her sister about her fall? And here is a helping tip to reading comprehension activities. Remember that answers to reading comprehension are always in the text. All you have to do is find proof with keywords. Something that helps me is to underline the part of the text that I think indicates the answers to the questions. I know it's simple, but do it, believe me. In this case, my first question, we are looking for keywords that indicate that Alice is curious. If we look at the text, here it says, burning curiosity. That's quite an obvious one. But later on, we can also read, I wonder how many miles I have fallen down this time. See, the author uses the verb wonder. You wonder things when you are curious. So Alice is very curious because she is constantly asking herself questions, wondering, falling down the hole. Let's look at my second question. Does Alice plan to tell her sister about her fall? Well, at one point, Alice thought, how brave they will all think of me at home. So it seems like an experience that she wants to share, but she continues thinking, I will not say anything about it. And there's your answer. How did you do? Did you understand this text? It is so worthy to continue the reading of this classic story. What are you waiting for? Go to Ewa's app and get to it. Cheers.